Texas. Just got back from Houston, right?
About 2 hours ago. The weather was actually pretty nice. Hardly got much higher than 90 the entire time I was there.
That's
For
Texas.
Houston in the summer, that's pretty amazing.
That's lovely.
And the humidity is about, what, 98%?
If not 103. You know, it's
Yeah. Houston tries harder.
They found the face down in his waffles, maple syrup dripping from his fake roll. Who did he see when he heard who was there? Now it seems that he should.
All right, everybody, welcome out to the Log Room Guys Craft Beer Show. It is Tuesday, September 7th, 2021. Jersey Johnny coming at you, and with me, as always, is none other than Mr. Beer Samurai. Say hello, Mr. Samurai.
Hey, guys.
How are you? On our first, this is our first repeat month of this podcast. We started a year ago in September. Not our 52nd, not our anniversary show yet. Not yet. But
we got 2 weeks for that?
we have 2 weeks for that, yeah.
So is this number 50?
This is number 50, show number 50.
Number 50.
Okay, number
This show's almost
55.
as old as I am now.
Almost. Not quite. Another 15 years. It'll be as old as you. I'm joking.
You do.
13 years. But anyway.
All right.
So what are you eating?
I'm chomping on some cheddar cheese.
Cheddar cheese. A block. Look at this. You're just eating the whole block. You didn't
I didn't
cut
have
it. You
time.
just
I didn't have time. I'm still cleaning up from the mess.
still cleaning up from Ida, are you?
Yeah. I mean, I can bitch and complain as much as I want, but I got
I
off
get you.
pretty easy.
That's
Right.
crazy. It's you compared to other people, yeah. You definitely got off pretty easy there.
Well, what? Maniac Brewing.
Maniac's under 15 feet of water.
The deck is now downriver.
The deck is downriver, and the water is up to the top of the overhead door outside.
Yeah, I saw that. Melovino took quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, they did.
Right, some of their barrels made it out into the main road.
They did. They went outside. They got loose.
There's I think there's a GoFundMe for them. So
There was a GoFundMe for them. Yeah,
So
well, we're going to
maybe
list
post that up at the end.
any of the GoFundMes for any of these breweries or meaderies or anything that were affected by Ida. We will put up on our Facebook page. So.
Yep.
By all means, go to them.
So let us know if you know of any. We'll get it up there.
Yeah,
so
if we don't have
can
any
help
up
out.
that you know of, send it in and we'll put it right up. So, but anyway, so how you doing today?
Oh well, other than
the mess and cleaning up and getting ready to Amscray from
this is
Water
this will-
City,
Yeah, Toilet Water City.
Toilet Water City. I was
Yeah.
being nice.
Yeah, I know.
Trying to be nice.
So this will be this will more than likely almost 100% be the last show I do from this location.
What a shame. It's a milestone, though, right? You've done a whole 12 shows from that location.
Maybe. Yeah, it's ever since March, right? So March, April,
Yeah, some
May,
more than
June.
that. Yeah, probably 20
A little
shows
bit more
maybe.
than that.
Yeah, but, anyway.
Actually, I think I've done more shows from this location than any location. Have I not?
Well, you did.
There was more in Rhode Island, but there were some
probably.
for the roof.
Some from the roof.
some
Yeah,
from
some from
inside
the
after it got
inside.
cold. Yeah.
This is true, too. This is true. Very
So
true. Very
maybe
true.
more
So-
here. So
So, anyway. Yeah, I was talking to a friend of mine earlier.
you have friends?
I do.
What's it like?
Well, no, it's funny because he met his wife on Tinder. He did. It was very awkward for both of them. I got to tell you.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Because they were already married.
There you go. All right. So, all right. So you're
Had to-
supposed to just get it
Had
as soon
to
as
force
I say
feed
it.
that one a little
Right?
bit.
Exactly. All right. Fine. There you go. I got another one, but I'm not going to say it. Screw it. I'm tired of being a people pleaser. As long as that's okay with everybody.
Who have you ever pleased?
I said as long as it's okay with everybody. All right. All right.
I see what you're doing.
And they're done. There we go. All right. So
And
hey,
John's out.
I'm done. Well, I got a few others, but I'm going to save them because they're not as good as those two.
Great. Try the veal, people. He'll be
Exactly.
here
I'll be here
all
week.
show.
Forget to tip your bartenders. Exactly. So anyway, on this auspicious occasion of our 50th show and your last one from those digs, we have
Digs. More like bales.
No. That's why I use the word digs. We have a very special podcast tonight.
Special?
New, I guess you could say, brewery from Portland, Maine.
Portland. I love that place.
Yeah, that
I've been
Samurai and I were at last month. And when we were there, we just these guys got to come on. So we were able to get them. We were able to convince them to join us tonight.
We
So why don't,
didn't pay them, did we?
No, we didn't.
Neither of us have money.
No, so
Okay.
anyway, so let's without further ado bring them on.
We give it all to Brian.
I know. Yeah, we
Well,
give it
we
all to
have.
Brian. We have given it all to Brian and Matt. Exactly.
All excess monies
all
go to Brian.
$10. Exactly.
You gave him $10. You
I gave him
overpaid
$10. Well, I owed him $10, so I gave him $10.
Okay.
So. Anyway, all right. So let's bring him on. It's Nick and Zach from Belleflower Brewing, folks, right there.
There they are.
I'm gonna unmute them too, so you can actually hear them. How's that?
What's up, dudes?
How's it going, guys?
Good.
Um,
Hey, and
Guys.
it's not about convincing us. It's about scheduling it at the right time.
this is true.
Ah,
This is very true. Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
John's a master scheduler.
Absolutely.
There
Time.
are a bunch of other things too, but
I do. So anyway, so how you guys doing tonight?
Awesome.
Awesome.
Not bad.
That's
I
great.
apologize if you hear some kids running around upstairs.
That's all right.
Oh,
I've,
wait a second. I just heard something. I need to.
You need to up. You need to up.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. What
Oh,
do
there
you
you
got there?
That's a good one. Oh,
Oh, I'm right there with you.
I'll be.
There we
actually-
go.
I'll be actually opening that. Right there.
ooh, nice. Yeah. Maybe I'll have that after.
I'm gonna start with the Goza.
I got one of those left.
I got.
I got
mixology after that. So
I was telling them before the show, their brewery that day was like the 8th or 9th. It's all blur. So I didn't really give them too fair of a shake because I couldn't taste anything by the time I got there. So I had to come back with Magpie, and you guys had can't remember the name of it. You had a stout on sale that day.
Was it
Secret.
Yep, that's the one. And if I took that and opened that here, I'd be killed and not moving out of here sometime this month. So I'll have that eventually. But Magpie, I'm loving, absolutely loving.
That's awesome. Well, I'll just put it up there. This is Magpie, right?
Yeah, I called it a New England American Pale Ale. Could you just call it what? A New England Pale Ale, right?
Yeah, I think we just call it NE Pale Ale.
NE Pale Ale. All right. Well,
An
why
IPA.
don't we just do that then?
Yeah, that's a cool beer.
That's better.
Yeah, I
There
mean,
we go.
that's a cool beer because, like, you know, I say this to like anybody who asks about that beer, but it's like the kind of the quintessential beer that represents like a lot of our like values, just as like business operators, human beings, you know, reflects on the name and like, you know, ties back into just like, you know, the human experience or the American human experience for the past like year and a half, right? Like,
Yeah.
Bet if you tried to go buy flour in April of last year or toilet paper or one of those things, you
Yeah.
couldn't get it.
Nope.
Couldn't get it, right?
Was
Couldn't
not
get it. So, you know, one of the things that was really important to us when we were opening was figuring out a way to like make sure that you know, if stuff got shut down again, it you know, it obviously would affect us, but you know, at least we could still get raw materials. So, you know, all the malt in most of our beers, well, majority of the malt in most of our beers is grown in Maine, malted in Maine, gets made into beer in Maine, which is kind of crazy because like there's not a lot of other states in the U.S. where you can say that and have it be like
Sure.
like a real honest thing. You know, even like Massachusetts, Connecticut, you know, 9 times out of 10, the maltsters there are getting their grain from, you know, New York State or Vermont or whatever. But we're very lucky in Maine to have like a huge, you know, massive breadbasket in the county up north, and you know, it's super cool for us to be able to have that stuff and like be able to feature it in these beers that we're making. But Magpie is a great example because the dry hop in that beer is actually Cascade that's grown by the hop yard in Gorham.
Okay.
And
Cool.
what they did was they, you know, this is like high school biology. they phenotyped their cascades. What they did was they planted a bunch of like, you know, genetically similar cascade, but like slight variations, you know, along the path. You know, tested it out, figured out which one was the best one, then killed everything else and like cloned that one, and then grew it up
Really?
in the yard.
That's crazy.
So it's like it's kind of special to Maine to have like, Maine grown Cascade in a Maine, like all malt, all the malts from Maine, all the grains from Maine. So and tying it back to like the story and the brewery. It's about supporting local agriculture and supporting farmers and
right.
really being like truthful about that, not like trying to hide behind anything. That's why every label we throw can't really see, but every label we throw the ingredients except for Secret Clubhouse, because that's the one that that's the
Secret.
one we'll
That's a secret clubhouse.
that's the one we'll hold close to the best there.
It's also very
yeah. But we'll throw all the ingredients on there. And we met the farmers. Like we went to Aurora Mills and met Sarah and Matt and up to Porter Farms. They grow all our barley. Like literally shook the farmers' hands, begged them not to plant any more potatoes and keep growing barley.
There you go.
They're definitely going to grow more potatoes. But
So start making vodka.
Work.
Yeah, right. But I mean, again, like it's just like a super cool beer because like we can really make this like really, really nice beer like basically just with local ingredients. There's Citra and Centennial in there as well, but
yeah,
and outside of supporting local agriculture too, the quality of the ingredients is fantastic. Like the Cascade grown in Gorham at the hop yard, totally different than what you would get from West Coast Cascade. It has more of like a lemon lime, and even like a almost like a zebra stripe, like candied gummy sweetness to it. That we really
which means the flavor only lasts 15 seconds.
Right.
It keeps you taking sips, right?
Yeah. There you go. You take more sips more often. You get through the beer fast.
Well, it's funny because you started to answer a question I was going to have based on what you guys were saying. When you take, because they've done this experiment with many hops. They've taken noble hops from Germany, usually have that nice floral aroma to it. You put in the Pacific Northwest, they start tasting like pine, right? So the terroir in Maine, you said, is more of a lemon lime flavor.
That's what I pick up from that hop grown here.
I get like lemongrass and a lot of that like it's like more of an herbal quality than like a fruit character, but like the fruit like undercuts the whole thing, So it's really this like I don't know. It's very delicate and strange, but also like perfect at the same time,
Yeah, I think I described the flavor in one of the beers as lemon verbena.
Mm-hmm.
It was along those lines. And somehow or another you muted Nick, John.
I didn't. He did.
That was me. Sorry, I just asked my wife to turn the light on.
Oh, okay.
It's because it's getting dark.
Sometimes
Thank you.
What's
Let there be light.
We're starting to, we've got some hop farms in Jersey, but I'm terrified what the terroir would be here.
Well, I mean, the biggest thing.
We said it before. Pork roll.
The biggest thing with that is like it's about the weather. Like Pacific Northwest. It's like it's not super sunny and it gets really wet, and the plants just like that. And if it's not like if it gets too much sun, like the leaves are just going to bake off and everything's going to get too hot. It's the same problem that like other hop yards have in New England. Even they can make a good product, but it's not crazy like it is in the Pacific Northwest.
Right.
Just because of the weather, really. That's all it is.
Yep. That's
very
true.
The climate in Maine closer to the climate there than, let's say, Connecticut.
I mean, it's cooler, That's
or Florida for that matter.
Yeah.
If you want to go
more pine trees, more.
Yeah.
No, there you go. Yeah.
It's just not as. It's
more
not
moose.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There you go. So, all right. Let me. Let's actually do this because we do this. We ask every guest every week. What's the first? And it can be an ish. What's the first craft beer you ever had?
Zach, you go first.
Oh, I can remember this, and I don't know why I ordered it. Probably just the name because it sounded interesting, sounded cool. The beer called Skull Splitter Orkney Ale, and I forget if either of the if
so you looked at it and said, "I need that."
That was just the brand, but it was a Scotch ale. I don't know if I've seen it since. I got it at a restaurant in the college town where I was living. and I just didn't. Yeah, I was 21 at the time. Really didn't know that there were flavors outside of what you would find in like a Coors Light.
Right.
And it kind of blew me away. I was just like,
flavor in Coors Light.
Well, yeah. I mean, you get flavor when you drink water, don't you?
Yeah.
It tastes like water. That's the flavor. Anyway,
I remember that being the first one that really blew me away, and I started doing research and started visiting, the local breweries around Bloomington, Indiana.
so you went to college in Indiana then?
I did, yeah.
Gotcha.
Indiana, isn't it? Didn't they?
No, it's. Did you see the jerseys in Indiana? Is the guy ran on the field or whatever the first Indiana University game last week? It said Indiana.
Oh no!
All the jerseys said Indiana on them.
Oh man!
And they didn't catch it, and they let them wear them.
Oh, that's bad.
Indiana. Awesome. Yeah, that was great. But anyway,
honestly, I can't remember the first.
Again, it could be an ish.
Yeah. So like one of the first beers that actually like kind of opened my brain to the possibility of anything other than light lager was Left Blonde.
Okay.
And I can't even remember why I had it. It was probably my mom's influence. I don't know. It was transformative because Left, if you've ever poured into a glass, it's like super hazy.
Sure.
It's got all that like bubblegum classic, like, Saison, whatever kind of characters to it. Not a craft beer by any means, owned by AB InBev. So
now, yep.
Right.
Yep. And then, pretty soon after that, it was Harpoon IPA. I'm pretty sure, just because growing up in Connecticut and going to college in Boston, just being around that like all the time,
Sure.
Harpoon, it's like the granddad of what we're doing these days.
Sure.
But that like that malty, that bitterness, like that was what it was all about,
Okay. Dave and
Harpoon
I can concur with that. So
yeah, Harpoon IPA has been brought up a few times on this show.
Yeah. And then even like having influential places too is like a huge impact on me. Like I had friends. I went to college in Boston, and I had friends who I later moved in with, but they lived like basically across the street from a public house in Brookline, and it's like, when we moved to Brookline, it was like we're at the public house like 3 nights a week, like literally 3 nights a week, and you learn, Larry learned Larry's name. He was one of the bartenders.
Oh.
There's a Wachusett beer named after him.
Wachusett Larry is named after that bartender in that
there you go.
Seriously?
Yep, there you go.
Nice.
It's like stuff like that. It's like learning that stuff. And,
That's great.
And learning about different beers. I remember the first time I drank a Sculpin was at the public house, and it was like crazy. Mind blowing.
Oh, yeah.
It was like 2012. It's like crazy. Didn't exist at that point.
Sure.
What was the other big bar there that I loved was
in Brookline
Sunset. Across the river in Alston.
Sunset Grill, yeah.
Yeah. What, 100 taps they had?
Yeah, I was going to say, they just had like way too many tap lines. Just like,
yeah, it was ridiculous.
There's a point where that's really cool and it's great marketing, but it's just too many lines.
Well, you'd always ask the bartender, what's fresh?
Yeah, what got delivered
and if he's a good bartender and a good company man, he's going to tell you what's not.
Yeah.
This is what John would do at his bar.
Right, exactly.
No. Boston, what a great town to go to college in.
Yeah, it was really cool.
That is a challenge to graduate if you're going to school in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Especially when you go to an art school to get an engineering degree.
There you go. If you graduate from a college in Boston, you've earned it.
I went to an engineering school to get a liberal arts degree. And
hey, there you go.
Yeah.
We have really quick. We have Brian Olchel says hello. Hi, Brian.
Oh, hi, Brian.
He's our one of our producers there, and then Gene toasted us. There you go. So no words. Very short of speech tonight, both of them.
Yeah,
so.
Gene's our fan who isn't a producer.
There you go. He's the one that isn't a producer.
There you go.
And let's put it this way: we call them producers because anytime we have like a question come up and we're too busy talking on the podcast on the show to actually go and look for it, they'll actually go and Google it and look for it and get us an answer. So we call them our producers. That's their job.
We've made them work before.
Gotcha. So, all
There you
right,
go.
where'd you guys meet? Where'd the two of you meet?
Zach, tell the story.
Tell the story, Zach.
Ooh, yeah. I guess we've been saying that this Bellflower's been like the longest and shortest brewery in planning. Yeah, we first met in 2012. It would have been.
I can never remember if it was 2011 or 2012.
Maybe 2011. Yeah, we met because we both got involved with Trillium Brewing Company about a year before they actually opened their doors.
Okay.
We had both in different ways heard about Trillium and what JC Nestor were doing, and got a hold of them kind of independently and said, hey, we're homebrewers, just kind of interested in learning more about going professional, and do you need some help, basically. So I guess enough people did that JC sent out an email to all of us saying, hey, I do need help on these days. We're going to pilot some batches. We're going to do some some construction, basically, or deconstruction of the space that they would eventually move into. So I think
that's the space in South Boston, the original space.
It's 4 Point, yeah.
Yeah, 4 Point.
Yeah.
So I think Nick and I both showed up on that first day when there was kind of a call for help. So we met there, and we were helping out JC Nestor with whatever had to be done, nights and weekends. And then outside of that, we started homebrewing together. We were part of the same homebrewing club, the Boston Wort Processors, and hung out at several events that were involved with that club.
Like that club alone has put out like so many breweries, like Dissolver. I'm trying to think of all I can think of is
Brado.
Say again?
Brado.
Oh yeah, Dorado
came out of that club as well.
There's other there's so many people that work at Night Shift, Jack's Abbey, all those places that were all Cambridge Brewing Company that were all in that homebrew club around that same time.
Boston Wort Processors.
Yep.
Very nice.
Great name.
That's nerdy. I like it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, we were just to continue on that. We were kind of getting our, our feet wet and seeing what it takes to open up a space. Mm-hmm. And it took Trillium a year and a half to actually build out the space, to get through all the red tape, to open up a brewery in the city, because they were the third brewery that would open in Boston outside of Harpoon and Sam Adams.
Right.
So this just hasn't been done on that scale before. So it was taking a while. So actually during that time, and as our friendship was developing, we were putting together a business plan, and actually got to the point where we were looking at spots in the greater Boston area to open a brewery.
You want it a little further north.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the funny story I like to say is one of the early, was it Night Shift or Jack's Abbey? One of the two, we looked at the spot before they did, and it was
I think it was Night Shift.
Yeah, it was probably a Night Shift spot.
The original spot that they were by Idle Hands, or the...
Yeah, it might have been that. I honestly, I can't remember, but
gotcha.
It was so long ago.
It's back then.
Exactly.
2012, 2013.
Also, Zach, you're being way too generous with JC's original email. It was hey, show up here at this address, 7 a.m., bring work clothes. That's it.
We've seen those emails from PJ, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
PJ puts them out.
PJ window from Ross Brewing.
There you go.
When they first going. Now in that club was Vitamin C in that club? The guys from there? Or you just like the hat?
Yeah, I don't think Dino was there. I know, I just like the hat. It's a cool hat. Also, we did a collab with Dino and Rich
nice.
2 months ago at this point. That was an awesome beer. That was really good.
That had to be insanely good.
Yeah, I mean, we got a little weird with it too, just because I don't know. With the collabs, it's fun to do, try to do something strange, or hit some point that the other brewery is good at, Right. So with that beer, we did the goal was to make a popsicle in beer form. If you ever had the orange creamsicles in the summer,
yep.
It's super refreshing. It's orange and cream and vanilla and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So, Dino and the Vitamin C crew, they use vanilla in a lot of their beers. So it's all right, we're gonna use the Dino method of adding vanilla to this beer to make it creamy and delicious. And then, we fruited it with tangerine juice. And what else was in there, Zach? Tangerine, lime.
We had orange zest.
Yeah.
And then a lot of Matueka hops.
Yeah. And I mean, it came out great. And, there was a very divisive beer because some people were like, I do not want to drink a creamsicle like when I'm drinking a beer. And then there are other people who are like, I love drinking a creamsicle like as a beer. It was tasty. I liked it. And, we liked it so much that we're doing it again as not a collab with like a new, not a new brand, but like different like take on, what that like sort of popsicle flavor would be. But
it was, I think it is like kind of it's just shocking when you have a beer that tastes like a melted sherbet for the you can tell like this is going to taste like an orange creamsicle, and they'll have it and be like, this tastes like an orange creamsicle. It's like, that's the way we're going.
That's exactly what it was supposed to be. Yeah.
Right.
There's a brewery down here in Jersey that just brewed a couple weeks ago. They brewed it's just a standard milkshake beer, right? But they brewed it with vanilla ice cream. It was a collab with a soft serve ice cream place, and obviously you can get, if you make a just a regular milkshake, unfruited milkshake with vanilla and lactose in it and everything else, it's gonna have that same flavor to it. But this one, I don't know whether it was just power suggestion or what, but when you drink it, it literally tastes like there was. And again, they brewed it with soft serve vanilla ice cream. So it was in the boil. So, 2 seconds after it hits the boil, it's just vanilla and lactose anyway.
Yeah.
But still, it just tasted like you were actually drinking a soft serve vanilla in beer form.
Yeah.
But it was pretty cool. But anyway, yeah, that's great. So it took you, so you started writing a business plan basically like 9-10 years ago.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that business plan is like,
there's been 17 since, right? Yeah.
We talk about it. We talk about it like not a lot, but a couple times we've been like, if we had opened then, man, it would have been very difficult.
Yeah.
Very difficult. And granted, 10 years ago or whatever at this point, different life, different lifetime, different experiences. I'm sure we would have powered through it and been fine. But I almost daily like thank the experience that both of us have gotten, especially Zach. Like Zach's had like amazing experience at the places he's worked, and he's worked like so hard and is so knowledgeable and has so much experience and like making like extremely high quality beer that like every day I'm like thinking to myself like, man, I'm so lucky to have Zach.
Now you've mentioned Trillium. Where else?
I was gonna say where were some of those places after the whole Trillium gig? Where were some of those places?
Sorry, that I've worked?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I've really only worked at the two breweries. I was at Trillium. I was employee number 2. So they hired Adam Goodwin, who was their first brewer, and I kind of spent half of my time front of house, half my time back of house. Okay. When Adam left to start Charlestown Fermentery, about a year in, I took over his role. So I was leading production at the Fort Point location for the next 2 years until operations moved to Canton. And at that point, it was a much bigger operation. I was off the floor for the most part in a managerial role as director of brewing operations until December 2017 when I moved to Portland. My wife and I had a kid at that time. We were looking to move out of the city. We were looking for opportunities in Portland because it was our like go-to kind of vacation weekend getaway spot.
Right.
We're both originally from Indiana. We moved to the Boston area to go to grad school and then kind of developed our careers. And we just love exploring New England. But when we found Portland, it was like, that's the spot. Like the food and beer scene here is incredible.
Sure.
So much history. We love the people here. So we were looking for opportunities to eventually move up here. And I heard about kind of through a friend of a friend, an opportunity at Lone Pine Brewing Company for the same position I had at Trillium. And they were going through a very similar move where they were going from this kind of, shoebox, very small, maybe 1,000 square foot production space, close to across the street from where we are now, to a much larger facility in Gorham. So I oversaw that transition and helped them kind of grow and develop their production space over the last couple of years.
Nice. That's awesome. That's great. And Nick, yourself?
Yeah, I mean, so when all the stuff that, you know, we opened Trillium, I was working in an advertising agency. Well, more like a production house for advertising agencies. And, you know, I had a really good career. It was awesome. I was working with developers on like building, you know, these like really complex websites and installations and all this stuff. And it was really cool. It was really rewarding. And I loved my job. And I stayed there for 10 years, a little bit more than 10 years. But I always had the passion for craft beer and like the, you know, the creativity that came along with that. And, you know, after Trillium got open, you know, that's when I decided, like, I was like, all right, I'm going to go open my own brewery. And Zach was like, I'm going to stay at Trillium. And I was like, all right, dude, I'm going to go to Connecticut. So my wife and I moved to Connecticut, and I was going to open the brewery. You know, I bought all the equipment, had everything like ready to go. It was like pen to paper the lease, and life happened. Couldn't open the brewery at the time. So I stuck with my career. We moved to like Southern Connecticut, and, you know, my job at that point was in New York City. So I was commuting. Yeah, I was commuting into New York City from Greenwich.
I thought you were going to say, like, you know, closer to like up by Fairfield or even
not that far, thankfully. I mean, it was still a haul, but you know, I stuck with my advertising career, kept in touch with JC, and then one day, you know, just emailed them out of the blue and was like, hey, you know, how's it going, guys? Like, what's going on? Because they had just done the Canton expansion, and like the company was growing. And, you know, I knew I'd always wanted to go back to Trillium because, like, you know, I loved Zach, and I loved working with Zach, and I loved like the rest of the team and JC, and like the work we were doing on the beers we were making was like incredible. You know, it was so rewarding. So I was able to get another job with them full time, which was like, you know, my dream job. Basically, it was amazing. Like, sure. Getting to build the future of this world-class brewery was like unbelievable, you know, unbelievable, like an insane opportunity. So I jumped at it, you know.
That the company saw while Nick was there was just insane. From the on the Greenway, the restaurant, the Fenway location.
Sure.
Yeah. So I mean, like the first like month or two that I was there, you know, I pitched the Greenway to JC and Esther and convinced them that we could do it. And then we pitched the Greenway on us being able to, you know, do the Greenway. And then we built that entire spot out in like a month, you know, operationally, physically, you know, making enough beer, having like cooperage to be able to support it, yada, 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 like licensing, everything down the line, you know. That was amazing. That was so rewarding. And then, yeah, the restaurant in Fort Point, like the Fort Point expansion, it's like 2 floors plus a roof deck and a patio.
Yeah, it's great
like
space. Yeah.
500 seat restaurants, like just crazy, you know. 10-barrel brewery. Like the brewery in Fort Point is as big as our brewery at Bellflower. You know, like straight up. Like honestly, it's basically the same size. And then and taking that to Fenway. I mean, that was amazing. It was my dream job. I loved it so much.
Right.
You know, and I'm really, really happy that I got the experience, and it's serving us well, you know, because like Zach, we're like two sides of the same coin, right? It's like Zach's been on the production side and is a very technical brewer, and I've been on the business side, on the operations side, and the two of us complement each other well because, like, you know, I love the production side, and he can like challenge me on the operations side. You know, so it's great. It's a good.
You got your own specialties, but you keep each other on your toes.
Yeah, but like the best part, and the part that I really love to talk about is how we've incorporated our families into the business.
Yeah.
So like, we made a very cautious and calculated decision to actually have our partners involved basically in everything. So like, Katie and Melissa, my wife Katie, Zach's wife Melissa, they actually own the brewery, and they hold us accountable for everything. And like it gets that.
Too many jokes here.
Well, yeah, it gets that reaction, but like, the reality is, the reality is that working. The reality is that it makes it that much better because we're a family business and we're dedicated to like our families, and we know we need to like make that the priority.
Right.
And you put that into the context of the broader business, it just makes everything better, right? Sure. And then you think about like being a welcoming and an open environment for people. Katie and Melissa designed the tap room. Like they're the ones who made everything look the way it looks. Katie curated all the art for the tap room. She got the painter to paint the wall. She does all the labels now with the artists that we work with. Nice. It's all like the story I really like to tell people is from like 3 months or 2 months ago or whatever, where like the four of us are sitting at the table, right? And we're meeting, and we're talking about everything. And I'm pretty sure it was Melissa. Melissa goes, "So guys, what are you making for Oktoberfest?" And Zach and I look at each other like, oh, shit.
What?
I hadn't thought of that yet.
Here?
Yeah. And then it's like, Zach, get the firemen here like tomorrow, and we'll make a Oktoberfest beer. But like if we didn't have them, like I feel like we wouldn't be like reaching outside of ourselves, and to us, to me, I don't know. I'm going to speak for Zach in this moment. Please, it's like so important to have them because they influence every decision we make, and they're really the driving force behind like a lot of the stuff that we do. Yeah. And it's like so nice to have them be intimately involved in everything we're doing. Because then you get to work with your best friend every day, right? Like Zach's a really good friend, but like my wife is my best friend, and she works at the brewery 2 days a week. It's awesome. It's really cool.
All you got to do is click around the website a little bit to see the family orientation.
Sure, mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That
was a really long-winded answer to like the history of. Sorry about that.
So what you're saying then the color was green, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
But anyway, no, I just when you actually started it though, when you actually you were at Trillium, or Zach, you went up to Lone Pine. What was the okay? You said it was the longest, shortest plan. When was the actual beginning of the let's get this thing going. Let's really actual Bellflower plan. When was the actual?
What was the push into the door?
Into the door, yeah.
We found out like 2 weeks ago. Like we had stumbled upon a text or something from a year ago that day.
It was like a month ago.
Was it a month ago?
Yeah.
I don't need nothing anymore. Yeah, so it's been like 13 months ago that I got a text from Nick saying something to the extent of like, would you consider opening a brewery in Portland? And like we stay in touch. Like we'll text about whatever work related things or family life or whatever. But I wasn't expecting this kind of out of the blue a text just saying, "Hey, would you consider opening a brewery in Portland?"
Yeah, because Portland doesn't have enough breweries yet.
No.
So that's yeah, it's barren.
Lacking.
It's barren.
Yeah.
So that you gotta because what made you crazy enough to go? Portland could use another brewery because they don't have enough fantastic breweries. We think we can open a brewery there and stand out.
Being
and during the pandemic.
Yeah,
during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Great point.
So the text actually
even not
came.
Pandemic, that's a ballsy.
It wasn't like you were thinking about this prior to the pandemic. In the middle, smack dab in the middle of the pandemic, you decided, hey, let's do this.
Yeah. Right. So I mean, I think I can give you the context for that. So I actually got laid off from Trillium because of the pandemic.
It's a great initiative right there.
There you go.
Yeah, like we had like everybody else, Trillium had gotten hit pretty hard early on by
even though they did a pretty decent job of getting through it. What they did at Canton was fantastic. There was always lines to pick up beer. They still hurt.
You're welcome. A lot of that was stuff that I had worked with our team on building out.
At that time, Dave was actually in Rhode Island. So
I still have one of the butter. It's not a butternut squash, but it looks like it from the garden.
Oh, really? Oh, nice.
It hasn't rotted yet. I don't know how it hasn't rotted yet. But I would go up there and I'd get the garden boxes. That was a brilliant friggin' idea. Was that yours?
No, all that stuff happened after I left. But
Okay.
but yeah, I mean, like, we had, as soon as we heard that there was going to be shutdowns and we knew we couldn't like have people in the tap room anymore, it was instantly like, all right, how can we do home delivery? Because we had been working on logistics for home delivery like probably for 6 months before the pandemic even happened. So we were planning on doing that. So we had worked through all that already, and then it was online ordering, which again like was one of my initiatives. We had already set all that up. So we had a lot of time
on that website.
Yeah, we had a lot of the groundwork. I'll go like this. We had a lot of the groundwork laid for
Right.
for a successful transition to like only beer to go. But we didn't know how long everything was going to be shut down. We didn't know if we could bring people back, and it was like we had to figure out a bunch of different ways to get production people in without like exposing other people. And then it's like, who's going to run the can line? Like all those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So anyway, long story short, the guy who is trying to make everything work, and maybe not the one who's like physically making everything work, is the one who gets like the axe first, I guess. But anyway, yeah. So that
led to.
Well, yeah. So it motivated me. Like I spent probably like 2 months at the house just like sulking because I lost my dream job. Right. But it was awesome at the same time because I got to spend so much time with my kids, and my youngest son Tommy was like super little at the time, so it was like so amazing to be able to spend like his like tiny baby time with dad, and we get to take walks every day. So anyway, like I in the back of my head I'm like, all right, you know what, now's the time. Like I know there's going to be opportunity out there. I know how hard it hit Trillium. It's going to hit other places like really hard. I'm going to unfortunately, I'm going to do the American thing and like be opportunistic and try to find an opportunity.
Right.
Through all that stuff, I got another job at a medical marijuana company, which was awesome. It was so rewarding working there. It was like such a cool place, and I learned so much.
Is that a euphemism?
No, it was really
so
cool.
Rewarding.
No, like you don't get anything. You get none of the product from places like that. But it was really rewarding because we had an awesome team, and like the growers there, they were like so passionate about what they were doing, and there was a lot of like reflection on like the same values and same qualities of craft beer.
Sure, absolutely, definitely.
And I love them so much, and they're doing amazing things now. Like they just won the Cannabis Cup in Massachusetts, like first place. I'm not even joking. Like they're doing awesome work.
Which one was this?
It's called Bountiful Farms.
Okay, I've heard of it.
So I'll take a little bit of pride in like helping them, get off the ground because they weren't even open when they hired me. But anyway, so I had been hunting for opportunities, and like the part of the story that I love to tell is, I'm a member of the Massachusetts Brewers Guild somehow still. I'm on the Facebook group. Hopefully Katie doesn't take me off after saying this, but so she had posted like a thing with a phone number that she said, I have no information about this. There's a brewery for sale in Portland, Maine. Here's the phone number. Call them for more info. That was it. And I saw the number and I called within like 2 minutes of it being posted. And the guy that picked up the phone was like, how did you hear about this? You're the first person to call me. You shouldn't know about this. It's not public knowledge. And then that same weekend, like 2 days after I called them, I went out and looked at the spot, and that's when I texted Zach, and it's all history from there, basically.
That space was a brewery before you guys went in?
Yeah, so it was a brewery called Brewery Extrava before we moved in.
And they didn't last too long now, did they?
They were open for a year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah. So they were there for a little while.
So it was a turnkey. They had everything set up. You basically just walked in and, more or less,
jumped into the grave.
Yeah.
Kind of like a spirit of Halloween. Right in there.
What were you gonna say, Zach?
Well, from a production standpoint, more or less, yes, we did make some investments in equipment when we moved in. But the big challenge was to take a space that someone else had designed for the tap room and make it our own, and take, without doing any major, changes, just cosmetic changes to the space, have it match our brand.
Yeah, it's a beautiful
So
spot.
that was a big challenge for us and for Melissa and Katie, who, that when we first got the keys, that was their first kind of major project.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I think we did a fairly decent job at.
Yeah.
You definitely did. You did more than a fairly decent job.
And a nice outdoor hang as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Outside and in. I'm not to pause the conversation, but to pause the conversation. I'm empty for my first beer. Anybody want a second?
Yeah, I'm
You ready? All right.
Yeah, I'm definitely ready.
I'm opening.
Zach was smart. He poured himself a whole friggin' liter.
There you go.
Oh, it's a half liter.
Oh, now you're
half liter.
Yeah.
Little Thunder. I'm having hexology. There we go.
I'm gonna switch to the Thunder. Why not?
Why not?
Talking about Adam.
There you go.
Charlestown Fermentory. There they are.
There we go. I actually don't have another Bellflower other than the one that I need to share with somebody. Should have gotten more than one bottle of that.
It's all good.
Should have got a few more 4-packs. So I'm going to drink.
You can take a ride down this weekend if you want to share it with somebody.
There you go.
There we go.
Right.
Yeah, you've got more. But Johnny had brought me this one. Chimney Rustic Ales Kuna.
Mm-hmm.
It is a chicha style with guava and grains of paradise.
Oh.
The hops before hops were hops. Well, what was used to bitter beer back in the day. That was one of the few things in Gruit that they did identify actually was in Gruit. So I did ask John.
Guava?
Yeah, guava. I did ask John, did the brewery do a lot of chewing on corn to make this beer? Because this is what, an old Peruvian style?
I believe that's what he said. Yeah,
Peruvian style, where
we had Chimney Rustic Ales on the show. We actually had their distributor on the show.
When did we have them on the show?
They actually brought the owner Dan of Chimney Rustic Ales on the show with them. I guess it was like a little security blanket, or he's one of their, they're very close with them, and they do a lot of work with him. So he wanted them on. And that was one of the beers we drank, but Dave wasn't able to get a hold of it beforehand, so I.
No, because I live much further north than they are.
Right.
Well,
and ironically, I had to bring it to Maine with me to give him there.
Yeah. We actually swapped a bunch of beer in Maine because we've only seen each other in Maine since the pandemic started.
Since February. No, not since the pandemic started. February. You were. Yeah.
Where was that?
We were Source.
Oh yeah.
Before that, at Melavino the month before. So we saw each other a few times this year, but. Other than every week online, but
no, this is a style. This is
since
a peasant
February
style.
the first time.
A peasant style where the villagers chew up corn. Their saliva adds the enzymes to the corn. They spit it out, and then they ferment that. So it sounds absolutely disgusting.
Yum.
That's not what they did at the brewery.
But that's not what they did at the brewery for this. I do know that if you watched that Dogfish Head show, they did that.
Yeah.
And they had everybody in the office chew the corn and spit into a bucket.
Yeah, I remember
and it's got to be that really fibrous stuff too. So it's really wore their jaws out. But
there's the beer that Dave's drinking, Kuna 4.2%.
This guava's not huge in this, but it's there, and oh god, I like this.
There you
go. Those tropical fruits are tough to use in beer. Like they tend to add like compounds that you don't want to drink.
Yeah, you got to be really careful with using the tropical fruits. That's for sure.
Yeah, like bitterness or sulfur, like those kinds of things.
Any of those off flavors.
A lot of experience with that.
Oh, yeah.
Right, Zach?
Change the acidity of the beer.
Everything, yeah.
Just be careful about how those fruits are, processed and where you're sourcing them. Has been my experience.
There you go. And this is the beer that Nick is drinking. There we go.
Passion fruit. So you guys got passion fruit. I got the guava.
There you go.
And
we're all over the fruits.
And the beer that I'm drinking. I just don't know when that Zach's
Love
drinking up. So, cool. All right. So, why Bellflower? I mean, I know why. Why don't you tell?
Yeah, it's on the website.
Why the name?
We want to hear
because I read there. Why the name? Why the name?
This is a
Zach,
question.
I feel like I talk too much. Come on, man. Oh God. All right,
but
fine.
Wouldn't this be your thing to say though?
Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I mean, so my family is it's embarrassingly so very old school New England. Like we've been in New England forever, like since white people were in New England, basically. And you know, we have this farm that's been in our family for like almost 200 years. That's in New Hampshire. That my great I think it's four greats grandfather. He bought this property in New Hampshire and built the house, built a farm for his family, and it's just been handed down ever since. And my great grandmother, she's really the one that gave the farm, you know, its most recent name, which was Bellflower. Mm-hmm. And you know, the name comes from my great grandfather, her dad. So she was like the last of the kids to live at the farm, because it was like, you know, it was like pre-World War II, World War One. And they were like the last generation. You know, her brother went to World War One. He was like in one of the first like tank corps. There's pictures of the whole like tank corps, the tank he like served in, you know, in the trenches, which is crazy. And we have his helmet and his jacket and stuff like that at the farm. Yeah. But anyway, you know, when you have like 6 kids and you're trying to feed all those kids, like, and you're living on a farm, you know, it's tough. It's not easy. And so, what he did was he planted like a little apple orchard. And when I say little, I mean, it was like 6 trees, you know, right. But those 6 trees, like they you know, produce like a lot of apples. And, one of the trees in particular, like, was like the kids' like favorite to climb. You know, it was just like, for whatever reason, like it was easy to climb, and like all the kids loved it. And you know, if you've ever seen like apple blossoms, like they come out of the tree, like the flower comes out like this, and the fruit starts to form, and the apple just falls like that. So that's like why it was like the bellflower. Right. And they had other flowers that were like bells, but yeah. So that was when the name was kind of coined, was the Bellflower Farm. And anyway, the tree, like the family folklore is that it got struck by lightning and fell down, and like it's this like mythical thing. But like the reality is, I think somebody just like either backed into it with their car, or the tractor hit it, or it just died. You know, one of those things.
They do that.
It was time.
Yeah.
Right?
So anyway, we have the trunk of the tree sitting in the barn still. That's the bellflower tree.
There you go.
But that's where the name comes from. It's from the farm. And you know, when we're talking a year ago right now about, you know, how to name the farm, and we've talked about this a lot. It's like, you know, you go down the list of stuff that you're going to name something, especially breweries and especially like beer brands.
Right.
And you try to come up with the names, like everything is taken, like everything. Like,
oh, sure.
Tell me a name, it's taken, guaranteed.
Oh yeah, there's very few, especially beer names.
Yeah.
You know, you can occasionally find you can come up with a brewery name,
yeah,
which may be a beer name and somewhere else, but it's just not a brewery name. You know.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, you know.
So we had like a huge list of names, and I was like, you know, like talking to Katie, like sitting on the couch, and we're like writing down, you know, typing up beer names, and like the list is just getting longer, and I'm like, you know, I remember this night, like kind of specifically, and I said to her, I'm like, what about Bellflower? And she's like, do you really want to like, you know, put that out there? Because it's so personal, and like, you know, this is like, we're not trying to make this like a personal thing. It's more about like us as like, you know, 2 families, like starting this. And I was like, you know, I'm not sure. I'll try it and see how everybody else feels. And so I put it out there, and then I don't know, like Zach, tell us how you felt about it.
We had that long. I remember we were meeting one night. We were having a meeting to discuss names, branding, you know, for the business. We were still in talks. It wasn't a sure thing this was going to happen, but we wanted to have all the branding lined up in case it did.
Sure.
And so Melissa and I were looking at the names before our meeting, ones we had put up there that you guys did, and we both got stuck on Bellflower. We, without knowing any of the context, we knew that there was you know, that knowing Nick that he had a family farm in New Hampshire, but I had no clue that was the name of it and the history behind the name and this tree and the connection to his family. I love the name. So I remember we started our meeting, and that was one of the first ones I asked about. I was like, tell me about Bellflower. How'd you come up with that? Like, I want to know more about it. And then he explained what he just did, this connection that he has to this area in New England. And it just fits so well with what we want to do with these beers and sort of be an expression of New England life and the agriculture in this area. It just seemed to fit the theme so well.
I'll have to admit, when I first saw it, John knows this. A lot of people that know me know this. When I go into an area or visit somewhere, I'm on Google Maps for days and days. And I remember the first time I became aware of your brewery is I was kind of looking down in that area because I couldn't remember the name of one of your neighbors, Urban Farm. So I was looking there, and all of a sudden, like, Belleflower Brewing. Okay, where'd this come from? And second of all, cool name. So the question I asked earlier is like, how do you think you're going to get into Portland and stand out as a brewery? Marketing's a big part of it, and that name does stand out.
Thank you so much.
Well, I'll echo that and go a little further. Marketing is a big part of it, and the liquid is a big part of it too. Well, then there's
the liquid, yes.
And
but you got to get people in to try the liquid first.
You got to get people in to try the liquid, and you're covering them both. And I'm not blowing smoke.
Thank you so much.
The marketing is great. Love the name.
Really
I'm echoing what he said, and the liquid. You've heard me say it already.
Well, I mean, the other cool thing too is that, like, like, again, going back to, like, coming up with beer names, like, it's really hard to come up with beer names, but, like, when you're really trying to build something that's, like, it's more than just it's the liquid in the glass, but, like, you're also trying to tell a story about who you are, where you've been, like, what's going, where you're going,
sure.
Like, tying it all back to something that has, like, these, like, roots, like crazy roots, and then building off of that is, like, I don't want to say it's, like, easy, because it's not easy, but at the same time, it's like it gives us, like, a foundation to, like, build off of, So, like, we were talking about stouts at some point, like Secret Clubhouse. That's one of our.
Can't wait to break into that one.
Yeah, there you go. that like the name for that comes from the farm. That comes from my childhood. Like that's like something that's, like, innately inside me that, like, is an expression that, like, I want to share with people, and it's that tie back to, like, everything earlier that sort of name just brings about. Magpie, just like that beer alone is one of those things. I'm a Scrugsy is, like, even deeper than that.
Was that a dog?
It was a dog. Yeah, it was my
dog.
Gotta be a dog.
It was my wife's mom's dog when she was a little girl. And, like, she loved that dog so much, and, like, it's one of those things that, like, gives you that, like, that sort of, like, sense memory that you didn't know you had. That's just innately in there, and tying all that stuff back together. I don't know. It's just, like, it's more powerful. It's more powerful for storytelling. It's more powerful for being creative.
Well, yeah,
like,
I mean, it's a lot of things too, because it's important to you. It's more powerful for you. You can get more. Not that you wouldn't be excited about your own product, but you're even more excited about your own product because it's not just about the product. Now, it's about what's behind it and everything. And
I love the Lost Leaf name is, like, a great story too.
The Lost Leaf.
I mean, it's fun.
That was one of the contenders for me for the name of the brewery.
The brewery.
That's been for the last, like, 10 years. That's been the name of every, like the name of my Wi-Fi at every apartment or house that I've been in. Where that came from was actually a bar that I don't think any longer exists. It was a house bar in Arizona and Phoenix that I somehow got into underage when I was on a family vacation. And speaking of, like, very early craft beer experiences, I remember somehow not getting carded and ordering. I think it was just under 21. I was, like, right on the edge, but I ordering, I think, a Shakespeare stout, or maybe no, there's a hazelnut stout by Rogue.
The hazelnut brown.
Hazelnut brown.
Brown. That's it. Yeah.
Brown. It's brown.
Yeah.
Hazelnut
I remember ordering that beer, and there was live music playing. Yeah, it was just, like, a very early, like, craft beer experience.
Hazelnut brown. Yeah.
And that's a classic. But the thing is, and you just answered the question I was going to ask. I'm like, okay, we've heard how Nick has put a lot of his personal stories into it. Zach, could you do it? And you guys did it. You're ahead of me.
Well, I mean, that's what I mean. It's like the, I said it earlier. It's like the shared experiences and like tying all this stuff back to like these deeply personal things that like, on the surface level, it's like, oh, that's a cool like secret clubhouse. Oh my God, that's such a cool name. But like, the reality is like I'm going back to like being 8 years old, running into the woods on the 60-acre farm, like finding the cave and being like, oh, like imagine you're 8 years old and you find this like hidden cave.
That's so cool.
Out in the woods in New England. Like that is the secret clubhouse.
Now, when you got that memory and that connection to the names, that has to come through in the beer.
Totally.
Right? Because now you've got so much, there's a part of you invested.
Yeah.
Well, Zach, I'll let you give the saying we've had at the brewery for like the past couple of weeks.
Oh, tightrope, no net.
There you go.
Tightrope, no net.
There you go. That's the way to do it.
There's no plan B. It's all plan A. This has to work out, and we're going to do everything.
So is that going to become a
It's
beer
not.
name?
I hope this works. This has to work.
This has to work.
It's not. This has to work. It's going to work.
It's going to work.
That's the way.
We will make this work.
Yeah.
There is no try.
Is that going to be
no net? There you go.
Oh, Zach just
Tightrope, no net.
Is that going to be a beer?
Which is ironically the new name of his Wi-Fi.
What
Please no
movies?
take that. We're thinking about that for a beer name.
There you go.
What movie is that from though? That's from a movie, right?
Is it?
Well, it's from a story behind a movie. I was just listening to this podcast about the making of this movie, Bonfire the Vanities. But
Bonfire of the Vanities, yeah.
Yeah, there's a story about the director, Brian De Palma, and they're doing a scene, this like 5-minute take, this Steadicam shot. No one's ever done a Steadicam shot that long before, and there's moving parts, and during the rehearsal people were getting hurt, and I guess he was heard on set like before filming just muttering to himself, tightrope no net, tightrope no net.
That's funny.
So that kind of stuck with me, and there are days where I feel like I have to tell myself that that same thing.
That's great. That's awesome. I'll wrap this up with how's Portland been, and not so much the town, but I mean both the town itself, the community, and the actual beer community too. How has it been for you since you opened?
Zach, you want to take that one?
Yeah, I mean, even before, so just personally, moving here a little over 3.5 years ago, working at Lone Pine for almost 3 years. It's very different than the greater Boston area for sure.
Slightly.
And not to talk down on the Boston beer scene, and I'm sure it's changed a lot since I've been there, but everyone was very kind of had their head down in their own work, and there wasn't a lot of collaboration and a lot of sharing of resources or knowledge. Everyone kind of stayed in their lane. And that's not the case up here. There's 30 plus breweries in the greater Portland area. Everybody has each other's back. It's very much the mindset of, a rising tide floats all ships. Everyone knows that if we all strive for better beer and we give a better experience to people, it's going to draw more and more people in, right? And it's going to be better for everybody. Since we've opened, breweries have been so generous. I think the first day, our soft opening, some people from Bissell Brothers were there, including Pete, and they were getting rid of some 20-barrel tanks. And he was looking at our space and saying,
Getting rid of.
Yeah. Well,
getting rid of.
Selling. They were selling.
No, I figured, but we don't need these anymore.
And we were talking about how, already, planning for the future, are we looking to, expand in this space? And he offered we were going to ship these out to storage in a couple weeks. Do you want one? Yeah. And they gave us a really good price on that tank. Multiple times I've had to walk over to Lone Pine and beg to use their forklift because we don't have one. And it is
driving
down that hill.
Oh yeah.
Today included, by the way. But we didn't end up getting the forklift today. We just you and the driver manhandled the pallet out of
deadlifted the pallets out.
Oh my God!
Yeah, for real.
Please tell me there was just one layer of cases on it.
No, it was cans. It was all cans. So it was
cans.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, there's just been so many cases at Belleflower. At the time I worked at Lone Pine, people are just so willing to, let people borrow and raw material or ingredient or whatnot, or even help out with manpower when people are down, people in production, and it's just a very collaborative environment. It feels really great, especially being the area that we're in, because so many other the East Bayside neighborhood has changed so much in the last 3 to 5 years, in part because of all the small businesses that have set up around there and created this community, and we're just super lucky to be a part of it.
And then your community just took a punch to the gut about 4 days ago, right?
Yeah, that was pretty tough.
Yeah.
So the beer geeks who've not watched Definitive Brewing's co-owner Dylan Weber suddenly passed. I think it was 5 days ago.
Yeah, I'm not sure when or what the situation is, but definitely if anybody has the opportunity to pick up Definitive,
that's a fantastic beer you're holding right there.
Please do, because I drank a lot of this beer this weekend, and it is really, really good.
Conti's a great beer.
Yeah,
it is.
We drank a few of those. Did we?
We drank a few of those.
It does.
It was really, really. I mean, that's one of the things that I think Zach was kind of alluding to, is that just in general it's a very small community, and losing anybody has an effect on everyone.
Yeah.
No words, just
nothing more you can say.
Yeah. It's
what it is. But we definitely enjoyed our time at that brewery.
Yeah.
They have got the cutest little taster stanges that I've ever seen in my life. Have you ever done that? You get a short pour of the Kolsch. There's this cute little stange they put it in.
Very nice.
It's awesome.
Yeah. But
it's been amazing to see so many breweries and restaurants supporting Definitive and Dylan and trying to raise money for his family. So
yeah,
again, just feels super proud to be a part of this part of the Portland beer scene.
Yeah, that's awesome, and we're definitely glad you are.
Yes, and you see that with a lot of places where the craft beer community is really just a tighter knit community. Yeah. What you said about Boston, I think, is more the exception than the rule. Because even Jersey, let's face it, most people think Jersey's just full of a bunch of assholes that say the word "say fuck you" a lot, and that's true. However,
and
when
while that's true,
if you look at our craft beer scene, it's a very tight knit, supportive community. Yeah. Anytime a new brewery opens, you'll see representatives from other breweries helping them on their first mash in.
Absolutely.
That's not unheard of whatsoever. And they're, you've got your godfathers in the business that everyone will go to get their advice from. But everyone knows everyone. And
it's funny too. In New Jersey, there are godfathers and there are a couple grandfathers too. And
yes, there are.
You do both. You go to the godfathers and you go to the grandfathers.
But the grandfathers are
for different things.
Yeah,
but you go to
both. One's going, get off my lawn, or IPA's a fad. I wish I was joking about that.
That's one, and
I really wish I was joking about that, but I'm actually not joking about that.
Yeah, well, he's not joking about that, and we don't, and he's not. Look, it is what it is. But when I mentioned the grandfathers, I wasn't including him. But
he is a grandfather because I got the oldest brewery in Jersey.
Yeah. In any event, so he just told everybody who it was. But
they don't know.
In any event, we'll leave it alone. So really quick, have you what's been the reaction from the not the community, but visitors, whether it's beer travelers,
because let's face
it,
that's a craft beer tourism.
It's a huge. I mean, Portland's always been craft beer tourism, but it's even more so now. Obviously, daily it gets more. But how's that been? Things you've overheard in the tap room, so to speak, or online maybe Facebook messages or tweets, whatever.
One thing that's been really encouraging, and we had an all staff meeting this weekend, and it's something we always tell our staff, like, Bellflower is not just the beer in the glass or the can. Like, it's far from that. It's everything, right? It is the story and it's the branding, but it's the physical space, and most importantly, it's us. It's the staff there, and we get so much positive feedback about the staff. You mentioned Shelby earlier, but our whole team, they're just incredible, and they represent the beer so well and are just so inviting and make the space just that much better to be in. And I think that's why so many people keep coming back.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that's been really encouraging.
And it's fun trying to match the chalkboard drawings to the people working there. That's
yeah.
Yes.
We added like two more staff in the past week, and so we had to get rid of the drawings of everybody.
Oh, you just had to. Could you not just add to?
I know. Well, we got a bunch more beers coming out too, so we're gonna have to
you need the
take
extra
more
space.
Yeah.
You need another chalkboard then, because I really enjoyed
chalkboard on the other
that.
side of the tap room, and
I really enjoyed seeing everybody in chalkboard format.
Exactly.
There you go. But Zach's right. I mean, like, the undercurrent is that. And the thing that we strive for, it's the beer has to be good, obviously, and we're confident in and competent in making like what we feel like is really good beer. But it's more about the experience, and I always feel really good when somebody comes in and they say, "Oh my gosh, like, I love the art in this space. Who's the artist? Like, what's this, like, who did this painting on the wall? Like, this beer is like crazy, is amazing, but like, you guys have air conditioning in the tap room and it's so comfortable. Like, it feels so good." Or, we have the Aunt Flo dispensers in the bathroom, and somebody comes out and they're like, "Thank you so much for like providing this stuff for us, because, it's our basic human necessity to like have these products available." And those are the kinds of things that, like, to me are the most impactful, because like, I don't want to sound like arrogant or whatever, but like, when I drink our beer, like, I know it's going to be good, and I know that we have like really high quality standards, and we're going to make good beer, and people are going to like it. But it's not just about that, it's about the entire experience.
Right.
And so those are the things that are really impactful to me. Like, we do. We're like a stop on the Maine brew cruise, which is like they do like beer tours through the city.
Sure. Yeah.
And like, we get people in all the time, and I'll give them like crazy stuff. Like, I'll give them our ferry offering, which the current one is bright green, like it's green. And I'll give it to them, and then I'll say, like, just try it, just drink it. And they drink it, and they're like, "This is delicious. It's so good. I can't believe like a green beer tastes this good. It should be for St. Patrick's Day." But no, it's not really St. Patrick's Day. It's just like fruity and delicious. And that stuff is like, it's really meaningful, and it like means a lot. But like, when somebody comes in and they're like, "I feel really comfortable in this space, like safe and awesome, and just able to enjoy myself and not worry about anything else," like, those are the best responses.
Absolutely.
And again, like, tying it back to what I was saying earlier about, Katie and Melissa being deeply involved in all the decision making and everything that we're doing. Like, that's the stuff that to me is like super important, and is going to be the future of this industry, and really bringing us together as like, a broader community of beer drinkers, because we all love drinking really good beer, right?
Absolutely.
And that's what it's all about, So let's make a place that'll be welcoming and awesome for everybody.
To your point, as you know, John and I do the top threes on every show, and there's been a few times we've talked about favorite brewery. Okay, that can mean so many things. Is it the beer? Is it the space? Is it the view? Is it the staff? Is it the overall? So we've talked about just the overall feel, and there are some places I will go more and more times that may not be putting out as good a liquid as the other place that I don't particularly like hanging out at. So yeah, having all of that full experience, that's going to bring the people back as well as the liquid.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
They'll come and get cans still.
Right. Hang out though,
But they may not hang.
Having the whole package.
Yeah.
It's great. All right. Well, you mentioned the top 3 list, so we might as well. Good segue. I like
that. That was an unintentional segue.
An unintentional segue, which makes
I
you the
tend to
segue
segue intentionally a lot, but
there you go.
Not today.
All right. So we'll do our top 3 list, this week's top 3. And as we always say on the show, just letting you know.
Well, as you always say, I never say it.
We, the royal
the
we.
royal we.
The royal we, right. We say on the show. Why do we do a top 3? Because 2 reasons. One, top 10 would take too long. And top 3s, we had to come up with a number. All right, we were paying homage to 1933. The repeal of prohibition, and we started the list when it was just Dave and I on the show. We weren't having guests yet, so a year ago, and
it was only 2 3s.
So it was 2 3s, so 3 3 1933. So there you go. But
there you go.
Keep going. So top 3. So this week's top 3 is top 3 favorite hops. Top 3 favorite hops. There we go. There we go. This could be interesting.
Zach, you go first.
So let's start with the 2 of you.
Let the brewer go first.
Let the brewer go first. There we go.
Yeah, it's tough for so many reasons because hops.
To narrow anything down to 3 is difficult, especially when it's not something you love. So.
Hey, wait, can I just interrupt for 1 second?
Sure.
I have to pee so bad. And I know what Zach's answer is going to be, so I will be right back.
You go for it.
I apologize.
Anytime.
Hope everything comes out all right.
There you go. We'll tell you a story after we're done. But anyway, continue.
Well,
at least he's not wearing earbuds and we can't hear him.
This is true.
Right. That has happened on the show. Right. Anyway.
Oh, you're kidding.
Oh, no. Yeah. No, we're not kidding. Yeah. Earbuds with the microphone, walked away, kept talking, and there you go.
Yeah, actually twice in the same show. It was awesome.
It was great.
Wow. Same person?
What's that?
Was it the same person?
Yeah.
Yeah. Same person.
Yeah.
So,
they may not be on the show again soon.
He may or may not be on the show soon.
Or next week.
But in any event.
Yeah.
So we derailed him entirely.
Yeah, totally derailment. There you go. So anyway, so it's very difficult to narrow down anything into 3, especially when it's something you love. But
and John and I cheat a lot and throw in honorable mentions to get more
we're like,
in there.
Because I really love this and I really love that and I really love this, but it
I
didn't
had to
make
go
my
with
list,
this one.
but then I get to say it, So anyway.
Yeah, I might need to have a few honorable mentions. I'd say 3. I'm going to mention 3 that we've been working with a lot just in the last 5.5 months that we've been open that have been exciting to me. Mm-hmm. We make a beer called Barn Hex. It's our rotating double IPA. So we've changed the hops a few times on that. Probably my favorite iteration of it. We call it melon vibes at the brewery amongst the staffs because it to me, it really smells like a fruit salad. Okay. It's like on a summer day, you're outside, just mixed berries and melon. Just to the face. That's the aroma. And that's a combination of Strata, El Dorado, and then to a lesser extent Mosaic. But the Strata El Dorado combo, those are 2 of my favorite hops right now. Strata it can have some tropical component, but to me it's a lot of berry, it's a lot of strawberry in particular that I don't find in many other hop varieties. So it's unique in that way. And El Dorado I've been a fan of for a long time because that is just like honeydew melon.
Yep.
And melon rind, and it's delicate. But I think in combination with other hops, it shines even more than just on its own. So those 2 for sure. I'm liking a lot right now. I'm kind of torn for the 3rd, but I'm going to say, because we use so much of it right now in a lot of different beers, it's one of my favorites is Brew One.
Okay.
I'm not sure which version of Hexology we're drinking, but we used primarily Brew One Lupomax pellets, along with some Citra and Mosaic, and that just comes across as straight pineapple juice.
Gotcha.
I mean, I've never had a hop express itself like pineapple juice so distinctly than Brew One. And it works well in combinations. You'll see on a lot of if you look at our cans and the ingredients we use in our hoppy beers, we really like to layer flavors. We don't too often rely on a single hop. We're picking hops that kind of have their own wheelhouse and kind of layering them together. Right. But Brew One plays really well with a lot of other hops and adds that tropical pineapple component.
Gotcha.
Nick, are you drinking a Barbasol?
So this is another a friend of ours.
It's a Barbasol.
Justin Slotnick. He works at Schilling now as the production manager.
Schilling.
And they have some really beautiful beers. So I just decided to crack this Augustine 13.
Glad to hear that fire didn't do too much damage to them.
I know, yeah. I was really worried about I texted Justin that night. And I was like, are you okay? Like, is everything okay? But yeah, they were okay.
On Zach, to your note, I'm drinking the version of Hexology that has El Dorado, Idaho Gem, and HBC 586.
There you go.
It was hard for me between Brew One, HBC 586, and Idaho Gem. Yeah, Idaho Gem is so unique because it has, for me, it comes across as cherry, which again is so distinct and hot. Having worked with the Citras and the Galaxies and the Vic Secrets and the Mosaics of the world, which we use in a lot of our beers, and I love. I'm always drawn towards hops that I get components I've never got out of hops before. Like that really fits me. And Idaho Gem was one of those. I remember we got the sample bags, and right when we opened it up, it was like that's like kind of stone fruit and a lot of cherry as well.
Nice.
We were driving in a car to go pick up honey for a different beer that we make, and Zach like opened up the bag, and I was driving, and he was like in the passenger seat, and I was like, "Whoa, that smells so good!" Like from across the car, you know.
That's great. Yeah. All right. Awesome.
All right. So my top three.
Your top three. Let's go for it.
All right. So I was thinking about this earlier. I'm going to start from 3 to 1. I'll go that way. I love Centennial. Like Centennial is like one of my favorite like American hops.
C's, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna go all C's, by the way, for all my hops. like one of my favorite beers of all time is Bell's Two Hearted. Like I love that beer so much. Like I love that beer.
That's a centennial punch in the face.
Yeah, exactly. Like so good, so good. I don't know what it is about that hop. Like just like the resinous, like pine character of it. I don't know. And then carrying on that to Cascade. As my number 2 spot. Again, like I don't like it. Just has this reaction from me. Like maybe just because of like how much Sierra Nevada Pale Ale I've drank. I don't know. Sure. Like
there was.
Oh, go ahead.
John can back me up on this. There was a time in the craft beer world where everybody who liked any hoppy beers was at risk of Cascade overdose.
Yeah.
Everyone was using Cascade. It got to the point where it's like, do you have anything that doesn't have a Cascade in it, please?
Yeah.
But it's still a great hop.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and Sierra Nevada Pale Ale is like one of those beers that I'll just reach to, for whatever.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
And then the last one, which is like the base of virtually all of our beers, except for the stouts, is Citra. It's like it's magic.
You mean you don't put Citra in stouts? Really?
Yeah, I mean, Citra is literally the base hop for everything that we build off of, for better or worse, I guess. Like better in our case, because it's so good. But the just like the citrus character that it adds to beer just as like an undercurrent even in the way that we're using it. We're not using it other than Finch and Thistle, or sorry, oh my god, blanking on the brand.
Finch and Thistle.
Yeah, Finch and Thistle. Other than Finch and Thistle. Yeah. Like we just use it on the hot side, and that level set of Citra, I don't know. It's like such an awesome like launching off point.
Sure. And
like so many breweries have like made like standout beers, like their flagship beers just off of Citra. I don't know. To me, it's one of those hops that you can't use wrong, whether it's bittering or aroma, dry hop or whirlpool, whatever.
Right.
It's so versatile, so delicious, and the fact that it's like its heritage is based in American noble hops and German noble hops. whatever that means. It's just like, I don't know. It's one of those, like, again, it's like the magical, the undescribable, like, character of something that just has, like, all the qualities that you're looking for or that I'm looking for from beers. But so Citra is my number one.
Citra's number one. Gotcha.
That'll segue beautifully into my list now, won't it, John?
Yeah, I was going to say you want to go next, but
Might
obviously
as
you
well.
are, so you got it.
I'm going to, and I don't even have them in a 1, 2, 3 order. I have them. John knows I like to categorize them a little bit, so I had to have one of the C's on there, and I'm one of those that.
So this category is one of the C's.
One of the C's, and one of the C's being Citra, because I always look for those citrus bombs. I love them. There's been times I've gone into a place where I know is heavy in IPAs. I'm like, just don't order a Citra. Don't order a Citra beer. Oh, they got a Citra beer. Can I have that? It's just I can't help myself. I do love Citra. So of the C's, and yeah, they're all great, but Citra is the one I'm going to look for more so than the others. Noble hop. Had to put a noble hop in there, and I love Saaz hops. I mean, if you're going to give me a Pilsner, make it a Czech Pilsner. Give me the original Pilsner. Bang that thing full of Saaz.
That's a Pilsner.
Pilsner, yes, a Pilsner. we do lessons on the show every now and then between Pilsner and Pilsner and what's got an E, what doesn't have an E. Well, two E's. Yeah. It's not pronounced Pilsner, but it's got the second E in there after the town Pilsen. But yeah, I love the Saaz hops. Love that crisp Czech Pilsner. So that's on the list. The third one I couldn't categorize. It's just the category will be the third one. And in this case, and it's only really because of a couple of beers that I absolutely adore that have Simcoe in them. And I just love Simcoe. I love the fact that it can give you everything from the Pacific Northeast hops that it can deliver. It's kind of like Mosaic in that sense, where it can deliver be a bunch of different things to a bunch of different beers. Except Mosaic kind of steps out of the way and does that, where Simcoe goes, no, I'm here, taste me. And I love Simcoe, and Weyerbacher's Simcoe was maybe the first beer ever to name itself after its hop. We haven't confirmed that yet, but we think that might be the case.
Yeah.
And then Kane has a beer called Head High, and then when they went to Overhead, the addition of Simcoe to it just took it to another level. And I just love what Simcoe does in a beer. So those be mine.
Those be yours. All right.
I know what one of John's is.
Of course you do. Well, Nick went C's. I'm going S's. All right.
You're all S's?
I'm all S's.
I know what your number one S is.
So first I'm gonna say, and we all know this, and anybody, watching or listening or watching later or listening later, whatever. Palates adjust even, weekly, and we're coming up on the fall now. So, the hops that I'm going to say now I'm not even going to say are not going to be the same in the next couple of weeks, because it's going to be all about the, German noble hops. It's going to be all about the Märtzens and everything else. But on that, at the moment, right now, my top 3 hops, again, all S's. I'm going to echo Dave, Simcoe. Weyerbacher Double Simcoe is just like, it was just an amazing beer at the time, and I haven't had it in years. They haven't made it in years, and I wish they would make it.
They haven't
wish
done
they
the
would make it again. I'd have it.
They haven't done the cake and cork version, the bottle conditioned version, in how long?
Oh yeah, it's been I don't know, 8 years probably, 7, 8 years.
Oh, bottle conditioning that beer just made it a wholly different beer.
Sure.
They need to do that again.
My second is a throwback to Zach's Strata. It's a great hop. I just everything that Zach said echoed. I'm gonna have to repeat it. There you go. And my number one, and I gotta admit, I've been a whore for it all summer long.
Yes,
I really have. Sabro.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He likes his coconut.
The coconut that it throws is just amazing. Really, really, really good. So, I'm
so happy to hear that, because that's like, I love the like weird coconut character that adds to beer, but like, man, it is divisive. Like, some people hate that.
Oh yeah.
but I love it.
You get arguments about it. You like that hop?
love
What are you
Sauber.
nuts? You know, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Oh my god!
But also, John's favorite adjunct in beer is
Well, coconut.
coconut.
Yeah, one of my. Well, it's actually my second favorite.
Your second. Your first is maple.
Maple's my.
Coconut's my first, actually. Right.
Maple's so hard to do in beer.
It
Good
is.
Lord.
Well,
You
obviously,
can overcook that, burn it. Yeah.
Well, it just goes away too. Like it just is like gone.
Oh yeah, you got to
Fermentation.
drink it right away. You got to. You got to. There's a very fine line between sitting on a beer long enough that you can it's not hot and tastes better, but the maple's still in it. You know. So,
Yeah.
We do have a fifth top three.
we do have a fifth top three. That would be Doug Smith. He's going to give us his top three: Cascade, East Kent Goldings, and Saz. He says, "Sorry, but I'm an old geezer. Does anybody brew with bullion anymore?"
We use Saz.
There you go.
No, but bullion.
Bullion.
Saz is in every lost leaf.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
But considering
Doug will get back to you on that. We'll actually have to check around, and we'll see if anybody does brew a bullion anymore.
yeah,
I don't think so.
I've not heard of that in a long. Wow.
Oh.
But yeah, no, that's Hey, I had Saz and Simcoe and Citra. You know, some of the, and I'm thinking I'm an old geezer through Kent Goldings in there.
East Kent Goldings in there.
It's got the EKG up in there.
Yeah.
What are we making? English bitters over here? Come on, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but a good English bitter every now and then is good.
Yeah,
for sure, for sure.
So, absolutely.
Yeah, British mild.
Oh yeah, English mild is great. I mean, just
English mild.
and it's a time of year too coming up on
Mm-hmm.
it for it. Yeah, I had one not too long ago on the show that I actually got out in Pittsburgh from Gristhouse Brewing out in Pittsburgh.
Nice.
London Crawling was the name of the beer. It was an English mild. It was really, really well done. It's really good.
I like the name.
Mild. Yeah, it was cool. When you open it up, you actually hear the Clash playing. But, it's really weird marketing technique, but it worked. So it was good. Anyway.
Hey, there you go.
That'd be a cool thing to have cans do, play music when you open.
Oh, please no. Please no. Don't put that on us. Come on now.
Nick, get on that way.
Come on now.
Oh, that's great. Anyway, but cool.
That'd be interesting to think of what breweries would use what music. We know Three Floyds would use death metal.
Oh, well, please.
Yeah.
Oh.
Zach, what would we use? Cardi B? No, just kidding.
Please. I hope you were kidding.
Interview over
like,
by quick.
I was going to say probably more like, man, I don't even know. Taylor Swift? I would say Taylor Swift.
Probably be T Swift for sure.
Yeah.
There
We
you
play
go.
a lot of Taylor Swift in the back of house.
It'd be rap coming out of the Interborough cans.
I know why I just thought of this too. Like not a couple days ago, I was just watching like a couple YouTube videos, and there was like a montage of all. You ever watch any of the Comedy Central roasts?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right, and Nikki Glaser, right?
Oh yeah.
They had like a compilation of all of her, like a lot of her roasts, right, and everything. And Jewel was at one of the roasts. I forget who it was for. It might have been Rollo, I think. And she goes, Jewel is here, or as I like to call her, Trailer Swift.
Oh no.
Oh wow, that's a good one.
She's Alaskan.
Yeah.
You can't help it.
To pick up and move on a dime.
There you go. But it was funny. She's hysterical. But anyway, on that. No, it's you know what, hops are definitely like fluid, right? And I don't mean that, tongue in cheek.
Literally.
Seriously, literally. Yeah, I don't mean it literally. Yeah. If we do this top three list in a month and a half, there's going to be three different hops on my list. So.
John's setting something up because we're starting to run out of top three topics, so we may have to recycle. So we can always caveat it with, our palates changed.
Well, we actually started doing a couple months ago. Actually, whenever we were, if we were having. If we had a specific reason to do a specific, like last week we had Brian Boak on, and he's a former brewer, former brewery owner in New Jersey, and he runs a Brewers Roundtable discussion once a month. However, but he's a huge Giants fan, and he runs a tailgate at every Giants home game. It's like 75, 80 people go to these tailgates. I've been to a few of them. They're massive. They're ridiculous. But so for that note, for the last week's top three was top three favorite tailgate beers. Right. But other than that, we talked about maybe doing, or we started actually doing, top three breweries from a specific state or top three beers from a specific city. So We got plenty of material.
Yeah. Top 3 styles. We haven't gotten top 3 beers in a particular style.
Right.
We've done a few of those.
We're coming up again on some holiday beers, and somehow I'll have to work in my favorite holiday beer. So
it's a funny story about palate fatigue and like hop fatigue. There's one day like I was in the brewery with JC from Trillium, the owner, and like we were like doing sensory on 4-Point Pale Ale, and I'm like, JC, like what did you change? Like something's different about this beer. And it just doesn't taste as like punchy as it did before.
Right.
He was like, nope, it's exactly the same.
It's exactly
the
same.
You suck. Your palate sucks.
Wow.
You've had too many hops. I was like, oh my God, you're right, dude. I'm so sorry.
I think it's the entire beer community. Just look at the evolution.
Yeah.
It's like 3 pounds per barrel was a lot. Now it's 10 pounds per barrel.
I was going to say, you put 3 pounds per barrel in any beer now. It's like, that's all you put in it.
Yeah.
Well, that's that whole point about why I had to bring some of your beer home with me, because the hops I had during the day had so wrecked my palate. I could barely taste anything I drank at your place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's tough,
Yeah. So
I'm really, really, really happy I did, because
there you go.
Well,
you would have brought stuff home anyway. So who you kidding?
Well, no, because I was running out of room in the car. We didn't have my Outback. We had our little Mazda, so we couldn't. We were running out of room in there, and it's like, I got to bring something from here. And it's funny because I drank this beer, like, man, this is fantastic. I didn't have this at the tap room, and I looked like, oh, I actually did have this at the tap room.
There you go.
I'm really glad I picked this up.
I don't blame it. I blame it also on that crazy BLT you had over at Mass Landing too. So
that thing was fantastic, but I followed that up with the poutine with the egg at the Freak Shack.
There you go.
They were out of eggs when John was there.
They were the day before they ran out of eggs that day. So I
ran out of eggs.
They ran out of eggs.
And it's not
It was still delicious. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, right.
It's delicious, but
that egg just
it takes
knocks it up a bit.
Elevate it.
Yeah. So, but anyway, all right. Well, look, guys, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
This has been awesome.
Absolutely.
We really thank you for coming on. And down the road, we want to, Dave and I at some point will be in Portland again, either alone, separately, or together. So we'll definitely come by, and we'll do maybe we'll do a live thing from the brewery that day or something.
There you go.
Yeah, I know Carrie was looking at the real estate in the area.
Oh, jeez.
But then again, she does that almost everywhere we go.
No, I'm trying to buy a house right now, so like,
just you can't buy one until Nick buys one. Don't
there you go.
Exactly. But
don't need any more.
I need to get out of the flood zone.
There you go.
Well, that's why my mom moved back to Connecticut. Honestly, she was living in Wilmington, North Carolina, and she was like, "Nope, not dealing with the hurricanes anymore." There you go.
That'll do it. But yeah, no. At some point down the road, we want to get you back on the show too. That'll be awesome.
And frankly, people who are listening, when you go to Portland, we know there is the specific places people like to go. Right. Don't overlook these guys.
Thank you.
They're right there with them all.
Absolutely not.
We know,
and not to downplay any of the breweries in Portland for that matter, or even the surrounding area, or specifically the breweries that are right, 2 blocks south and 2 blocks north. But whatchamacallit? Get there and plan on spending a little time there, because you're not going to want to leave when you get there. Really, it's an awesome space, awesome people, awesome beer. Get there and enjoy it. Seriously.
Yeah, hit Industrial Way, go take a nap, drink a lot of water, clear your palate, then go hit Bellflower.
Right. There you go. So, awesome.
Or the other way around. Doesn't matter.
Right, exactly. So, all right. Guys, stay right there.
Cool.
We'll end the show and then we'll talk afterwards. So,
thank you so much.
We'll wrap the show up for today. There you go. We want to thank everybody for watching, and for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thanks for listening.
One breath.
No, it's not. Don't forget to visit our website, www.lagerroom.com. That's LAGERROOM.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and, of course, our YouTube channel. All of them are at The Lager Room. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Tuesday night at 6:30. Yeah. For those of you that just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, and Google Podcasts. Plus, the show is now available on Amazon Music Podcasts and iHeartRadio as well.
When did that happen?
Today. Just got approved today. So
Okay, you guys heard it when I first heard it.
Exactly.
iHeartRadio.
I didn't let him know yet. So
Legit.
exactly.
Oh man, we're almost legitimate.
We're almost legit now. Yeah, there you go. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you will never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend, guys. Zach, Nick, thank you so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
You guys are doing an awesome job up there. We will be up again. We will need more beer soon, so we'll have to
keep
come
that
up
liquid flowing
and keep it going. Do what you're doing. You're doing it right. Keep it going, and our best to
get the chalkboard back up.
Yeah, get the chalkboard back up. There you go.
Chalk people.
Our best to the wives too.
Cheers, guys.
And,
Thank you.
And everybody in the tap room, Shelby, all of them. Awesome. And have a great weekend. Drink a lot of beer, drink responsibly, and we will talk to you soon. Take care, guys. Cheers.
Cheers.